If you really been wondering where Bruce has been at, you need to go get a job. Nah, I'm just playing. Bruce was just taking a little break. 2 years of a break, but now that he's back and streaming has changed, let's face it, people are getting annoyed with Kai. All these damn subathons, it seems like everyone is doing these big, crazy streams, but where the hell is Bruce at? I can't lie, since he's gone, everyone has been sneak dissing, trolling him, so we made sure to address all that smoke in this video that you don't want to miss. Welcome back to Streamer Hollywood. Don't forget to subscribe. Jeffrey, take it away.
Oh shit, Bruce is back. After 2 years. I'm happy to see Bruce looking healthy. For most streamers, disappearing for that long is a death sentence. Audiences move on, the hype dies, and the internet forgets quicker than ever. But somehow, when Bruce came back, it was the exact opposite. Within minutes of hitting go live, over 20,000 people flooded his stream, all waiting to see what he had to say. And that right there set the tone. Bruce wasn't just back. He was back with a statement. Think about it. The last time most people saw Bruce, he wasn't in a good spot. His community felt fractured, his reputation was shaky, and he seemed tired of it all. So for him to reappear after such a long break and instantly pull numbers most streamers dream of, it didn't just surprise people, it shocked the entire streaming world. Because normally, when someone takes that much time off, the question is, do people even care anymore? But for Bruce, the question became, why do they suddenly love him now? That's where the story really begins. This wasn't just a comeback stream. It was almost like a reset button. People weren't tuning in just to hear what games he'd play or what jokes he'd crack. They wanted answers. They wanted to see if Bruce would finally address the drama, the rumors, and all the beef he left behind when he walked away. And most of all, they wanted to see if this was the same old Bruce or a new version they could actually root for. The energy of the return was wild. Clips started flooding Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube within the first hour. People who hadn't mentioned Bruce in years were suddenly posting about him again. His name was trending, reaction channels were chopping up his return, and fans were spamming group chats saying, "Yo, Bruce is back." For someone who was basically a ghost in the scene, he had instantly become the main character again. But here's the thing. What makes his return so interesting isn't just the numbers or the hype. It's the fact that Bruce came back at a time when streaming feels different. Fans have been saying for months that streams feel stale, that too many creators are chasing clout, ego, and money, instead of just having fun. So when Bruce showed up again, people were ready to see if he could shake things up. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was almost like the community was looking for someone to call out the fake stuff and bring back the raw energy that made streaming fun in the first place. And Bruce knows that. In his own words, he said he felt like people missed him, like they wanted him back to put some life into a space that's gotten boring. Whether you love him or hate him, there's no denying that he knows how to command attention. And now that he's back, it's not just about what games he'll play or what clips will go viral. It's about whether he can take the momentum of this return and turn it into something bigger than before. But of course, to understand why this comeback feels so powerful, we have to rewind. Because not too long ago, Bruce wasn't being celebrated. In fact, he was one of the most criticized names in the game, and that's where the story really takes a turn. Before we talk about why people are suddenly loving Bruce now, we have to be real about how bad things got back then. Because the truth is, the old Bruce wasn't exactly the fan favorite he is today. In fact, there was a point where it felt like he was beefing with everyone, and instead of looking like a fearless streamer, it started looking like desperation. Bruce has always thrived off energy, off trolling, off being unfiltered in ways that other streamers are too scared to be. But that same edge is what pushed him into non-stop drama. If you've been around, you know the list. He clashed with Kai, the very streamer who was supposed to be one of his closest allies. He took shots at Loss, accusing him of view-botting, which immediately stirred up chaos in the community. He even went at FaZe members like Lacey and Max, making it look like he was trying to pick fights with big names just to stay in the spotlight. And if you know, you know. He even had that fallout with Skeech after the leak situation. That one turned into a whole meme by itself. The thing about it was, these beefs didn't feel like calculated moves. They started to feel random, almost like Bruce was trying to create controversy just to keep people talking. And sure, that works for a while. You'll get the clips, you'll trend for a day or two. But when it becomes a pattern, people start questioning your motives. Was Bruce genuinely standing on what he believed, or was he just stirring Chet up for clout? People picked up on it too. When his views dipped, the drama seemed to spike, which made it look like a strategy. And once people start believing you're only creating conflict to stay relevant, that's when the respect disappears. Instead of being seen as the funny, authentic guy who spoke his mind, Bruce began to carry a new label: toxic. And here's the worst part. Streaming is built on community. No matter how funny you are, no matter how many viral clips you can generate, if your audience starts thinking you're doing too much, the vibe changes. For Bruce, the vibe was shifting hard. It went from excitement when he went live to skepticism. People clicked in, not because they wanted to have fun, but because they wanted to see who he would fight with next. And that's not a good sign. Looking back, it almost feels like Bruce was caught in a loop. He had built his brand on being controversial and outspoken. But when that became the only thing people expected from him, he boxed himself in. You could see it in the way people reacted online. His name was less about his humor or creativity, and more about the latest fight. But the thing that really hurt wasn't just the streamers he beefed with. It was the people closest to him, the ones who were supposed to ride no matter what. Because when your own supporters start questioning your moves, that's when things truly fall apart. And for Bruce, that moment came when even his loyal DEO fans started to turn against him. If there's one thing every streamer needs, it's loyalty from their community. That's the foundation. You can beef with other creators, you can go through ups and downs in views, but as long as your core fan base rides with you, you've always got a shot at bouncing back. For Bruce, that core was his DEO community. And for a long time, they were unshakable, loud, loyal, and willing to defend him in any situation. But eventually, even the DEO army started to look at Bruce sideways. And that's when things really got dark. It started with the Kai situation. Rumors began floating around that Bruce had leaked private DMs, and worse, that he was talking down on Kai behind the scenes. For a lot of fans, that crossed a line. Kai wasn't just another streamer. He was someone people thought Bruce genuinely rocked with. So when whispers started spreading that Bruce was moving shady, it instantly damaged his credibility. To the outside world, it looked like Bruce was burning bridges for no reason, even with people he called friends. And the fans weren't quiet about it either. On Twitter, in chat, in Discords, you could see the shift. The jokes started hitting different. Instead of Bruce is funny, the tone turned into Bruce is hating. And that perception is deadly in the streaming world. Because once the audience starts believing your content is fueled by bitterness instead of entertainment, the entire vibe of your brand changes. The DEO community, which used to feel like an unstoppable force, slowly fractured. Some fans stuck with him, saying Bruce was just being real and people were too sensitive. But others started walking away, frustrated that the streamer they once defended was now making them look bad for supporting him. That split was obvious every time he went live. The chat wasn't filled with the same energy, and the inside jokes that once made the streams fun started turning into arguments. Bruce himself could feel it. You can always tell when a streamer is off. The energy in his streams looked heavier, like he was carrying the weight of the backlash. Instead of trolling and laughing, he was often defensive, firing back at viewers or making comments that only fueled the idea that he was spiraling. For someone who built his whole career on high energy and raw humor, seeing him like that was tough to watch. The worst part? When your own fan base starts turning on you, it doesn't just hurt your reputation, it kills your motivation. Streaming isn't fun when you feel like even your community doesn't believe in you anymore. And little by little, Bruce's streams started to feel less like a party and more like a constant uphill battle. That's when the writing was on the wall. Bruce wasn't just losing beefs with streamers, he was losing his foundation. And once the DEO army stopped feeling like an army, Bruce's path forward became almost impossible to see. Almost 2 years gone. That's how long people had been saying Bruce was finished, that his name didn't hold weight anymore. DDG had taken his spot, his old friends weren't defending him, and even his own DEO fanbase seemed split. For most streamers, that's the end of the story. But then, out of nowhere, BruceDropEmOff goes live, and the entire internet stopped what they were doing. Within minutes, the viewer count skyrocketed. 20,000 people were locked in, spamming chat, tweeting clips, and letting everyone know Bruce was back. For context, That's not just impressive, it's historic. Most streamers would kill for that kind of return after 2 years of silence. To pull those numbers without any buildup or long promotion proved one thing. People hadn't forgotten Bruce. In fact, they'd been waiting for him. The reaction was instant. Twitter lit up with Bruce back trending. TikTok had clips from his stream going viral before he even ended. YouTube channels that hadn't uploaded a video on him in years were suddenly cutting highlights of his comeback. For a few days, it felt like the only name anyone wanted to talk about was BruceDropEmOff. And if you know the internet, you know how rare that is. To become the main character again, after being gone for so long, is almost impossible.
How you deal with motherfuckers use their name to spread negativity on you when you're trying to stay positive? Who gives a fuck? The only reason they speaking on my name right now is because I'm back. But it's a lot of niggas not saying my name no more.
But here's what made it different. This wasn't the same Bruce that left. Sure, the edge was still there. He still cracked jokes, still trolled the chat, still gave that raw energy people knew him for. But there was also a calmness, a confidence that felt new. Instead of coming back bitter or desperate to prove himself, Bruce carried himself like someone who already knew he had the room's attention. And fans loved it. The same people who once called him toxic or washed up were suddenly praising him for being real, for coming back without gimmicks, and for instantly shaking up a scene that felt stale. Because let's be honest, streaming has changed since Bruce left. The days of just sitting at a desktop, trolling chat, and vibing with friends are almost gone. Now it's subathons, big budget IRL streams, and constant celebrity features. So when Bruce came back and gave people a taste of the old school vibe, it felt refreshing. That's why the numbers were so high. It wasn't just nostalgia, it was demand. People missed that kind of energy. They were tired of watching the same formula from everyone else, and Bruce reminded them of how raw streaming used to feel. But here's the part that really shook people. He didn't dodge the drama. He didn't act like the last 2 years never happened. He leaned into it, addressing the smoke, throwing shade where it needed to be thrown, and reminding everyone that if you come for him, he'll respond. That honesty, whether you agree with him or not, is what made people tune in. Still, as big as this return was, it wasn't just about numbers or hype. Bruce's comeback hit different because it exposed something deeper, the way streaming has shifted and how fake it can feel now. And Bruce had no problem saying exactly what everyone else was too scared to say. Bruce's comeback wasn't just about proving he could still pull numbers. It wasn't even just about checking off all the drama people expected him to address. What really made his return stand out was the way he used it to take aim at the entire streaming scene. He didn't hold back, and his critiques hit exactly where fans have been feeling frustrated for months. The first target, subathons, or as Bruce called them, begathons.
I didn't stream for 268 days, and I came back to almost 20,000 subs. You know how much of a blessing that is? No subathon, by the way. Because I don't need that shit. Subathons are ass. They're genuinely ass. I know because I've done one, and I wouldn't be begging niggas to put time on my timer. Y'all know that. I literally put on Everybody Hates Chris and hope the timer ended. You niggas wouldn't let it end. Y'all are weird as fuck. I just wanted to let y'all know that.
He clowned the way streamers set timers, guilt-tripped their viewers, and begged for subs just to keep the stream going. He mocked the countdowns. If we don't reach this number in 15 minutes, I'm getting off. Like it was some hostage negotiation. And people in chat went crazy. Because let's be real, a lot of people have been calling out those tactics for a while. Bruce just had the guts to say it out loud. And the timing couldn't have been better. Kai has his Mafiathon going on, dominating the headlines, and here comes Bruce throwing shade at the entire format. He didn't mention Kai by name, but everyone knew who he was talking about. That subtle shot had Twitter buzzing, with people debating whether Bruce was right or if he was just stirring drama again. Either way, he had the internet locked in. But subathons weren't his only critique. Bruce made it clear he missed the old style of streaming, the raw, desktop-based trolling, where it was just a streamer, a camera, and a chat. No celebrity guests, no gimmicky IRL setups, no constant flexing of money. He said flat out that streaming used to be about fun, about connecting with your community, and not about who could pull the craziest stunt for clicks. That's the part that resonated the most. Because if you've been paying attention, streaming really has shifted. These days, it feels less like hanging out with a friend online and more like watching a production. Big budgets, wild collabs, music videos midstream. It's entertaining, sure, but it doesn't feel authentic. And Bruce pointing that out hit a nerve. He basically told fans what they were already thinking. Streaming has gotten fake. That's why people started calling his return refreshing. It wasn't that Bruce was reinventing himself. It was that he brought back the energy people felt was missing. His humor might be reckless. His takes might be sharp. But at least they're real. In a space where everyone seems to be putting on a show, Bruce came back unapologetically himself. And the funniest part? He admitted he's got a demon inside of him that slips out sometimes, and it's only a matter of time before he says something wild again. Fans laughed because they know it's true. Bruce can't play it safe forever. But instead of seeing that as a negative, people embraced it. They'd rather watch someone raw and unpredictable than another cookie-cutter streamer, running the same playbook. By the time the stream ended, one thing was clear. Bruce wasn't just back to participate. He was back to call out everything wrong with the industry and shake the table. But here's the real twist. Instead of people hating him for being critical like before, they loved him for it. And that's when the narrative around Bruce completely flipped. For the longest time, Bruce was labeled as the guy who did too much. He was toxic, messy, and always starting beef. But now, the conversation has completely flipped. Instead of people rolling their eyes when his name comes up, they're calling him one of the most real voices in the streaming world. And that shift didn't just happen overnight. It's the result of time, perspective, and the way the industry changed while he was gone. See, during his break, people had 2 years to sit with the things Bruce had said. And at the time, sure, it sounded like he was just hating. When he called out FaZe and warned about scandals, people laughed like he was reaching. But fast forward, and those scandals actually happened. Suddenly, the hater looked like the one telling the truth. The same thing with the streaming industry as a whole. When Bruce said he couldn't even watch streams anymore because it was all fake, fans thought he was bitter. But now, that's the most common take you'll see online. The game has changed and Bruce was ahead of it. That's why fans love him now. It's not because he softened up or reinvented himself. It's because time proved a lot of his negative takes were actually facts. And when someone goes from being the loudest hater to the guy who was right the whole time, that changes the way people view them. It turns criticism into credibility. Another big reason is nostalgia. Fans miss the old era of streaming, when it was just raw, funny, unfiltered content. No egos, no massive productions, no streamers begging for subs like it's rent money. Bruce represents that era. He's like a reminder of how fun streaming used to be, and his return feels like a chance to bring that back. Even younger viewers who weren't around for his prime can feel it. His energy is different from everyone else right now. It's also about authenticity. In a world where so many creators chase trends or water down their personalities to stay brand friendly, Bruce is unapologetically himself. He says what he wants, even if it's reckless. He trolls, even if it offends someone. And while that used to make him polarizing, now it makes him stand out. Fans are tired of safe content. They want someone who's unpredictable, and Bruce gives them exactly that. But maybe the biggest reason people love him now is because his story feels real. Everyone saw him fall off. Everyone saw him lose fans, burn bridges, and basically vanish. And now he's back, not as the perfect streamer, but as someone who's been through it and still refuses to change who he is. There's something relatable about that. It feels like a comeback, but not the polished, PR-approved kind. It feels messy, human, and raw, the same way Bruce has always been. And for a streaming scene that's been starving for authenticity, that's exactly why Bruce's return hit so hard. People don't just like watching him again. They feel like they need him. Bruce might be back, but that doesn't mean all the smoke disappeared. In fact, some of the most entertaining parts of his return came from the way he handled his lingering beefs. Because let's be real, Bruce has history with a lot of people. And two names always come up, DDG and Kai Cenat. Starting with DDG, the situation is almost funny when you think about it. For nearly a year, while Bruce was gone, DDG made him a punchline. Diss tracks, stream jokes, sly little comments. DDG kept Bruce's name alive, but not in a flattering way. Fans expected that when Bruce came back, he'd fire right back at him. But what actually happened shocked people. Instead of going nuclear, Bruce played it cool. He laughed off some of the disses, joked about the situation, and even reacted when DDG randomly gifted him subs. That moment broke the internet. Viewers couldn't believe it. Was the beef squashed? Was this some kind of truce? The truth is, it felt less like Bruce making peace and more like him choosing not to waste energy. Maybe he's matured, maybe he's just tired of one-sided drama, or maybe he's saving that smoke for later. Either way, the fact that Bruce didn't immediately go on the attack made people pay even more attention. Because with Bruce, you never know. Then there's Kai. And this one cuts deeper. Kai was once seen as one of Bruce's closest allies, someone he built with, someone the fans loved seeing him collab with. But after those leaked DM rumors and the perception that Bruce was throwing shade at him, their relationship has never felt the same. Fast forward to now, and Bruce's shots at begathons felt like direct shade toward Kai's subathon empire. He never said his name outright, but he didn't have to. The audience connected the dots immediately. That's the thing about Bruce. He knows how to throw indirects so sharp that everyone knows exactly who he's talking about. It keeps the drama simmering without boiling over. But fans aren't blind. They know Bruce has that demon inside of him, as he called it. They know it's only a matter of time before something reckless slips out and the beef gets reignited in full force. And secretly, they're waiting for it. Because love him or hate him, Bruce in beef mode is some of the most entertaining content you'll see. What makes this even more unpredictable is the way the community reacts. With DDG, people almost want to see them go head-to-head because the rivalry has history. With Kai, though, it feels messier. Fans are split. Some want reconciliation, others want to see it explode. And that tension adds another layer to Bruce's return. Every word he says, every joke he makes, every side-eye comment could turn into a headline overnight. So while Bruce might be back in a calmer, more self-aware way, the shadow of those unfinished beefs still lingers. And everyone knows, it's not a matter of if he'll spark something again. It's a matter of when. Bruce's return isn't just about one streamer making a comeback. It feels bigger than that. It feels like a commentary on where streaming is right now and where it could be headed. Because whether you agree with Bruce or not, he's bringing up the conversations that a lot of people have been avoiding. And that's what makes his presence so important in this moment. Two of the biggest points he hammered on are issues that cut deep into the heart of streaming: viewbotting and subathon begging. These are topics people whisper about, but rarely say out loud. Bruce, as usual, didn't hold back. First, the viewbotting. He called it out for what it is: ruining the authenticity of streaming. When numbers are inflated, when people are gaming the system just to look bigger than they are, it destroys trust. Viewers don't know who's really pulling numbers, and streamers who grind honestly get overshadowed by fake stats. Bruce has been vocal about this for years, and now even bigger names like XQC, Aiden, and Sneeko are echoing the same concerns. It's become clear that this isn't just petty drama. It's a real threat to the future of the industry. Then there's the begathon culture. Bruce didn't just clown it for laughs. He pointed out how weird it is for millionaires to pressure their viewers, many of whom have way less money, to keep subbing under the threat of a stream ending. That countdown culture feels manipulative, and fans are starting to see through it. Bruce saying it out loud gave voice to frustrations that have been bubbling for a while. When someone as blunt as him calls it out, it forces the community to stop and think. And that's why Bruce's return feels so timely. The streaming world is at a crossroads. On one side, you have the flashy, money-driven, production-heavy streams with huge budgets and celebrity appearances. On the other, you have the raw, unfiltered style that Bruce represents, the kind of streaming that feels personal, authentic, and community-driven. Right now, fans are craving the latter, and Bruce might just be the one to lead that wave. But here's the million-dollar question: how long will it last? Bruce himself admitted he's got that demon inside of him. He knows he's reckless. He knows he'll probably get into drama again. It's part of who he is. And the audience is split. Some are rooting for him to keep it together, to truly reinvent himself as the voice of authenticity. Others are just waiting for him to blow up again, because they know chaos follows Bruce wherever he goes. What's undeniable, though, is that Bruce has the momentum. His return shook up the scene, reminded people of what streaming used to be, and exposed the cracks in what it's become. Love him or hate him, he's impossible to ignore right now. So the question isn't just, why do people love Bruce now? The real question is, how long will they keep loving him before the demon inside comes back out? And trust me, when it does, the entire internet will be watching.
Thank you for watching. This is Streamer Hollywood. Videos coming out every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at 7 p.m. Subscribe so you don't miss out.